everybody, and welcome to the James and Dames show. We did have some issues with audio early in this one. We got it fixed after a couple minutes, but we did have to cut the intro and everything, so this is going to have to substitute. But yeah, no intro, but this is the James and Dames show, week 14 power rankings, and I'm going to let Josiah take over starting with the honorable mentions here in just a sec.
So we're gonna go over some honorable mentions here. Obviously, there are some who kind of dropped out of the picture for the moment. So I guess we can start with, or at least for my power rankings, honorable mentions. Oof, I don't know, because it's kind of a toss up between a couple of teams, but for sure, 49ers. It's just kind of a given at this point. They are 9-4. They're still good. But with all those injuries, it's kind of hard to tell what their true power ranking is at the moment. We'll kind of find out the last couple of weeks. So that is really the only honorable mention I can think of at the moment. So
That's fair. I have two, and one of them is, in fact, the 49ers. They've been there pretty much most of the year, and they're kind of riding that honorable mention spot, especially coming off a bye. And my other one is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who came off of a pretty dominant win. But yeah, other than that, I'm ready to just get into getting this top 10.
For number 10, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. So I wanted to give them a shout out, especially with Monday Night Football. They did pretty well defensively here and there. They had a lot of funny moments, particularly. There were quite a few
It was a game.
fumbles, turnovers, if you want to call it that. But overall, I kind of enjoyed watching them. Justin Herbert, while he's not like elite, he's still getting a lot of the. He's still getting the job done. He's kind of carrying a little bit here and there, but for the most part, there's been a lot of hiccups, especially with the Eagles defense last night. So it's not all on him, but there were definitely some issues. That defense for the Chargers came in clutch. Dicker the kicker, always clutch as well. Cannot believe I'm saying that about a Chargers kicking unit, because normally they're notorious for missing game-winning field goals and extra points and stuff like that. PTSD. But overall, I just wanted to give them a shout-out this week. I don't know how long they'll stay up here. I think they deserve at least 1 week kind of in the spotlight. So that's my number 10.
My number 10, I'm actually going to stick with the Detroit Lions here. I had them here last week. They got a must-win against the Cowboys this last week. And, I mean, it was close for most of it, kind of pulled away. It looked a little bit less close on paper, but most of that game was pretty close. Cowboys, they've been a lot more competitive the last few weeks, but it's just, it feels like a game that didn't wow me enough to move the Lions up at all. And this doesn't, again, it's another case of like, this doesn't really spark any confidence in the team either. It keeps them on track to get back into the playoffs, yes, but other than that, it doesn't really do enough for me to say, yeah, you can move up. But we know what they can be, so I'm going to keep them at 10.
All right, so for number 9, this is where more chaos is happening. I don't know how much you agree with it. I have the Houston Texans here. That unit, if they can figure out offense, is terrifying. That defense is elite, probably top 3 of the season. You can make your case and argue number 1. They put on a clinic, really, Sunday night. Really showed how elite that unit is, specifically the front 7 Those guys are terrifying to go against. They shut down any offensive momentum for the Chiefs for that most of that entire game, except a couple of hiccups. But yeah, C.J. Stroud, he's something. Only 3 completions in the second half. He's a bit of an issue. They need to fix that as soon as they can. Granted, Chris Jones is really good. So is Karlaftis as well. Those two are really good for the Chiefs' defense. So I'm not that surprised that C.J. Stroud couldn't do much. However, somebody had to break something. So it was just a matter of time who it was, and it just happened to be the Texans towards the end of the game. I did want to give them their shout out as well, mostly because it's kind of on par to what I was kind of hoping for the Texans at this point of the season. They're slowly trying to find their offensive identity, and they're doing it at the right time, and that's important. So I want to give them their shout out as well.
My number 9 is actually going to be the Los Angeles Chargers.
So you did move them up too.
I did move them up. I mean, you went out, beat the Eagles in a very defensive-heavy game. Justin Herbert doing absolutely everything he can to keep that pass game somewhat functional, as his O-line tries to get him killed. Getting a Marion Hampton back was very helpful. Vidal has also been playing really well. This is a team that, I mean, they're about as full strength as they'll get for the rest of the year. So I don't know if they'll get much higher. But I mean, well-coached team, putting together wins despite injuries, and they're just playing really well. How high caliber of a win it is against the Eagles is debatable, but
yeah, the Eagles defense is good.
The Eagles defense is definitely good, but it's the Chargers defense. Justin Herbert doing everything he can to keep them alive and a functioning run game. And it's just consistency, and that's that's something that's been a staple in the top 10, or at least for teams that have concerns versus teams that don't have as many concerns other than consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the difference. So I have the Chargers up at 9 and yes over the Lions.
For number 8, this is where I have the Lions. I agree. The show against the Cowboys was kind of expected on my part because it wasn't going to be that pretty of a showing, especially because they're playing at Detroit. And with the loss of CeeDee Lamb during that game, that also did not help whatsoever. Overall, I think the Lions are kind of back to form. I'm not 100% on that, mostly because they don't lose twice in a row, I've noticed. I think it's been pretty obvious recently. They don't lose twice in a row. So they'll have some interesting stretches, but if they want a chance to make a push for the playoffs, now's the time to do it. And with this win, it kind of puts them in a pretty favorable position. They do need to fix some things, particularly on the defense. I understand that there's a few injuries. You can only do so much. So, yeah, I think personally, I don't think the Lions go any higher than this.
My number 8, I actually have the Houston Texans here.
Oh, so we both bumped them up here. Okay.
It seems I just didn't give the Lions any bump. Texans, I have them up here just because, yes, there's a lot of concerns with the offense, but the defense is, like you mentioned, just so scary. And the way, you put the super scary defense out there and, get a couple of big plays from the offense, get a little bit of functionality from the offense, which it seems like they're getting just enough to win these games. But defense is also just coming up so big in a lot of these games. I mean, that's what, in point in the game against the Chiefs where the offense seemed dead in the water. The defense, for like back-to-back weeks, seems to have just be the thing in the second half that gave them a win
Yeah.
and did enough to get them ahead and keep them ahead. So, I mean, this Texans defense is basically winning them games. The fashion they're winning isn't the prettiest, but they have been winning consistently for quite a few weeks.
They are on a streak. So
They've done a very good job, and they've been kind of scary. I think it's fair for some teams to be scared of the Texans making the playoffs. So
for my number 7, it's heartbreaking, yes, but the Bears are here, unfortunately. With a loss to the Packers at Lambeau Field, I'll give them a little grace. However, Caleb Williams made the dumbest decision I think he could have made at that point in the game. He did have DJ Moore. It was a little late when he did get open, but if he just looked just a little bit to the right, he could have seen his route open a little bit. However, he tried going for the tie, didn't end up going the way he wanted.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that the decision was bad. His man was open. I just think it was just not a good ball. I think is really the thing is it wasn't placed.
I think it was a combination of things, but what was glaring to me was the fact that DJ Moore at the last millisecond got open, and I think he would have had a better shot of scoring the touchdown than was it Kmet? Was it back there?
It
was a tight end.
Kmet or Loveland.
It might have been Loveland then. Regardless, it was a little heartbreaking. So, I mean, that's kind of how it is sometimes. So, they do have a chance to get even with the Packers later this month, but they're gonna have to make a big push for that. And now the Bears are getting they got the 6th seed now in the NFC. I believe
I think there's still the 7th seed.
Are they the 7th seed? Okay. Regardless, they're only a couple games out from the playoffs if they're not careful, especially with the Lions coming knocking on the door. So they got to be diligent and win when they can.
My number 7 is also the Bears. It's surprising how quickly things can go from top of the NFC to bottom, just on the verge of being out in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's a really competitive year, and I mean I like to see it, but it sucks that a team like you have to choose between the Bears or the Lions or whatever. It sucks to see, but Bears, I do give them a lot of credit because again, you went into Lambeau, you played them real close, you came about that close to pulling that one out, or at least it's sending it to overtime, and Packers fans are on their high horse, but they still have to go to Soldier Field in a few weeks, and they're gonna have to do it all over again from basically the Bears' point of view. So the Bears by no means, yes, they're the 7th seed, but they're by no means out of division title contention. Packers having that tie doesn't give them as much of a lead as they would hope. They're half a game in front.
Yes.
It's not the biggest deal. It's just going to be who ends up winning more games at the end of the year.
Yep.
Between these two. But Bears, they put up a good fight. Played really well. Packers have been playing a lot better recently too, so you got to give them a nod there. But Bears, I only knock them down a few because, basically, just because you didn't close another game.
Yes.
This is just one game you didn't close where they've closed so many. So I try not to give them too much of a drop off because I really like the way they've been playing. This is also a division rivalry, so there's so many things where I'm going to give the Bears some slack, and it's still, I think this game shows a lot of how good they actually are.
Yeah. And Ben Johnson's first year and a couple other factors as well. So
it's a pretty strong turnaround.
All right, so for my number 6, I know some people might not be a fan of it, but I have the Bills here. It's kind of hard to gauge the Bills right now. We've said this throughout the year. They are hot one week, and then next week they just don't show up. That the Chiefs and Dolphins game back to back earlier this year kind of attests to that. They won their Super Bowl and just completely overlooked the Dolphins. When they're on fire, they're on fire. Josh Allen is quite literally doing everything himself with James Cook. I have to give him credit. Against the Bengals, knowing Burrow and Allen, they tend to have some pretty fun games, interesting games. But yeah, it was a very interesting end to the game. I'm very surprised the Bills were able to come out on top of that, really, because the Bengals kind of had a number on them for a little bit. But that's what you want at the end of the year. Close out the games, momentum. That's what you want. Bills, you have a chance at the division. I don't think you're going to win it this year, but in the off chance you do, don't screw it up.
My number 6 is also the Buffalo Bills.
Mm.
I have moved them up, but you beat the Bengals, who were barely even in a conversation for a playoff spot in the first place.
Yeah.
I just, on one hand, they didn't completely just not show up and get blown out.
Yeah.
So, like, it helped, I guess, there where they showed the ability to fight back. But at the same time, this just does not reassure any of my inconsistency
narratives
concerns with them. Like, you show up, you get down early, you're like bad, but you do fight back, and that's like, okay, this is kind of the Bills team that we know they can be, and they can get them back in this. Again, Bengals offense very scary, and the way they were able, like the fact that they were able to slow them down enough to catch up was impressive. It's an impressive comeback, and like you have to give them credit for the win, because that's. Despite anything, you still beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
A dub is a dub is a dub. So
that's just
you need them now.
They do. I just Bills. I just don't. I don't know who are you. What are you?
Who are you? Anyway. All right. So number 5, they're back in green. Yeah, they're back. I was going to say back in black, but they're not usually in black. I have the Packers at number 5. It's bound to happen. They are a top 5 team when they're playing up to it. They are. They truly are. I mean, Micah Parsons alone, that's a story we can talk about for a whole episode if we really wanted to. The Packers offense has been getting better. Slowly but surely. And Jordan Love isn't making as many crazy decision-making throws as before. That's what you want to see. I've mentioned it a couple times. Jordan Love is in my top 5 for quarterbacks this year. And he can play like it. If he can minimize mistakes and not play hero ball half the time like Brett Favre used to do, I think he can be really good. However, this year is kind of inconsistent with quarterbacks, so I'm not sure yet. Packers continue to roll as you are. You are going to come up to a big competition here this next week, so you got to show up.
My number 5 happens to come in yellow. That's also the Packers.
Oh.
Yeah. I will give the Packers credit. I will give Jordan Love some credit, even though he infuriates me still.
Yeah, he infuriates me too, but he can play like top 5 quarterback.
I hate how he can just roll back and then throw off his back foot like he doesn't care, and it works so many times. It infuriates me still. But I do have to give them credit. Like it seems like they've started to fix the offense. I mean, Josh Jacobs obviously doing his thing as he has been doing, but they've figured out something in the pass game with Tucker Kraft gone. It's not just dead in the water anymore. It seems like they've revitalized it. Christian Watson's been very, very useful, which there's always been a thing with him. As long as he's healthy, he's a good receiver for them. And he can be that wide receiver one. He's just not always available.
No.
Dobbs has been playing better. They've been getting healthier in the receiver room, and they're just playing more up to what you kind of hoped and what we've seen in years past out of that receiving core.
Yes.
So the Packers team, again, defense has always been strong for them, but the offense starting to come together against a strong Bears and a Bears team with a strong defense. Dennis Allen has been doing a great job there. They've done a great job of turning the ball over against their opponents, and the Packers minimized it a little bit. But, I mean, being able to work against that, and, again, this is also a division opponent, so it's a team that knows you really well. So it's impressive nonetheless, and Packers moving up is a lot credit due to the offense starting to look better, too. So.
Yes. So for number 4, you're on a bye week, so you didn't move much, if at all. I don't remember if I had them here or not. They were definitely no. I had them at 3. I had at 3 last week, I think. So never mind. They moved down a little bit because they didn't play. I have the Patriots here. It's not anything against you. It's just you didn't play. That's literally all I have.
That is a very fair point. So fair that I myself have my number 4 as the New England Patriots.
Stop copying me. No.
I'm not copying.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm scared of the top 3. Patriots, like you mentioned, they're a really good team. They've been a really good team. I still have some concerns there, but again, coming off of a bye, but still like a well-coached team and everything. I still like them in the top 5, but I did feel like someone needed to jump over them, so I slid them down 1 spot to number 4. But otherwise, bye week team that's sitting high and mighty in the AFC, no longer solely at the top, but
yeah,
you're still up there. So I'll get the flowers.
For number 3, I had the Seattle Seahawks here. So the only thing that is preventing them from being higher is because, 1, the 2 teams in front of them are better squads at the moment. 2, you played Atlanta. That's kind of about it, really. They are still a great unit. I like watching the Seahawks. I mean, obviously, Rashid Shaheed. Literally feed him as much as you can. That guy can do everything. Sam Darnold, I mean, he did all right, especially in the second half. But yeah, so I mean, I don't have much on the Seahawks besides the fact that they're still a strong unit. They are playoff ready. For the first time, I can say that in a while. The Seahawks are playoff ready, and it'll be interesting to see how far they can go, especially with that defense. I'm excited to see what they do.
My number 3 is also the Seattle Seahawks.
What?
Yeah. Pretty much the same thing he said, except JSN instead of Rashid Shaheed. So, JSN is an absolute beast. Seahawks offense is scary, but somehow their defense is even scarier, which I didn't even. I mean, I guess that's what you get with the Mike McDonald defense, but it's such a scary team, and I won't put them as like. I don't think they'll ever be like a top team, but are they a team that can make a run in the playoffs? Absolutely. They got a lot of scary pieces. They're just not going to be a fun team for anyone to go against going forward.
Especially if they have the home game.
Yeah, home game is not going to be fun, but they do still have the Rams to battle for that, which is where it's going to be interesting because the NFC West, besides a certain someone, not an easy one to conquer. So
No.
Seahawks at 3. Yes, they did have an easy opponent, but so did all of my top 3.
So for number 2, I guess we might as well come clean and say we have the same top 3. Broncos for number 2. You played the Raiders. I mean, everybody in the top 3 did play pretty weak opponents, so not much really changed. Broncos are a scary unit. Will forever be. Bo Nix needs to, like, I don't know. He's not mind-blowing. He is not mind-blowing. But he is efficient when he chooses to be. When he chooses to be. So
in crunch time.
In crunch time, he can.
Yeah.
We saw last week against the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
But not for the entire game, which drives me up the wall because I know he can play better. He just doesn't choose to. So, Broncos are number 2. It's going to be an interesting ride, especially this next week.
At number 2, I also have the Broncos. Crazy. I did consider actually moving the Seahawks up to here just because the Seahawks played, even though they both played not great opponents, Seahawks blew theirs out of the water much more, but I gave the Broncos the benefit of the doubt in one that they've been up here longer and 2, it's a division opponent. So
Fair.
Give them some credit there.
Fair.
But Broncos, they're another team that is riding so much on their defense. Like their offense is more functional than some of the teams towards the bottom that are riding on their defense, like the Texans, the Eagles, those sort of teams that ride on their defense. They're just not quite doing enough on offense. But like teams like the Seahawks and Broncos, they're benefiting a lot from the strength of their defense. Seahawks have a lot more going on offense, while Broncos, their defense is just so suffocating. And so I'm going to continue to give them that credit, especially, again, the win streak that they're on. They're a very impressive team. They're, to me, very similar to teams like the Patriots, where it's just, you don't expect them to be this good, or maybe even the Chargers, where you don't expect them to be as good as they are, but through coaching and just good game management and all this stuff, they are winning.
Mm-hmm.
But team above you is just still performing at a really high level, and talent speaks for a lot of it. Where Broncos have a lot of talent, but they're not as scary as the Rams.
And then for number 1, what? No way. The Los Angeles Rams are number 1. Yay. That's pretty much it. And no, I'm not saying that sarcastically or anything. It's just the Rams are an efficient unit. They're always going to be. They just had one hiccup of a game last week. It was only a matter of time before they got back. Yeah, that's basically it, really. So
my number 1's also the Rams. Whoa. They're other than that trap game, which I did my best to just look past it because it really was just an inopportune situation for them. Other than that, they came back, blew out the Cardinals, which is not even division opponents have been doing it all year. I think they've been blown out by all 3 of their division opponents at least once. Come out, play well. Matthew Stafford looks right back on track. No interceptions, 3 touchdowns. It seems like that Panthers game is almost like a fluke because they just seem right back to form to where they were. If you take out that Carolina game, it looks very steady for them. So it's just a one little hiccup in there, and then it's whatever. Team's very scary. Puka Nacua is a monster. Defense, they have some concerns. They're not to the strength that some of these other teams are, but they make up for it with a very scary offense. So
Agreed.
Rams remain first for me.
Uno. These are our top 10. Obviously, a little bit change has happened since last week. Not that big of a surprise, but there were definitely some. Oh, I guess they deserve to be up here now. So, thank you all for joining us for the week 14 power rankings. We hope to see some more chaos, but let us know what you think about our top 10s. Comment what you think of who deserves to be up here and who doesn't, because some people are very opinionated. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see you soon. See ya.